You know, guys, there's a very specific topic in the gaming community that some people talk about, a lot of people kind of ignore because they don't know if it actually applies to the game that they're playing, and overall, there's just not enough people talking about this entire umbrella term of modern gaming. Now, when you say modern gaming, I don't know what you guys think, but me personally, I think about everything. Like, I think about single player games, I think about first person shooter games, multiplayer games, I think about RPGs, I think about every single type of game that you can possibly think of. All fits under the term modern gaming. As long as it's in the modern era, that is what we're talking about. And you know, if this isn't already a topic that you've probably heard from countless other people, allow myself, Scatmaster Fooly, to describe how modern gaming is being ruined, how it's being killed off, how it's dying currently, in my own words. Now, before I get into it, let me just give myself some gas, you know? If you guys aren't familiar with the channel, the name's Fooly. Some call me the Scatmaster. You'll find out exactly why pretty soon. And we're currently on the way to 25,000 subscribers. Now, that's a very big goal of mine. I think there's going to be a very nice surprise the day that we hit that number. And so if you'd like to contribute to the cause, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like. You know, if you're unfamiliar with this channel, let me just say, I am definitely not the type to just talk massive random shit about nothing. Definitely not the toxic type, definitely not the instigating type, but on some real shit, I'm definitely not the gooch licking type. And what I mean by that is, I don't just blatantly follow and accept everything in front of me. I question a lot of things, I challenge a lot of thinking. And so sometimes, you know, it can get a little bit controversial over here. You know, some people disagree. It gets hectic over here sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. But if you're with it, feel free to subscribe, support the Scatmaster. And without further ado, guys, let's talk about modern gaming. Now, modern gaming, I would classify as at least maybe like 2016, 2015 and onwards towards the present day, but very specifically, I think at the start of the pandemic to where we are now, gaming has just blown up significantly. You know, there's so many more streamers, there's so many more people talking about it, there's so many more studios coming out, different types of games, a bunch of remastered classics coming out, a bunch of reboots. This is just probably one of the most popular eras of gaming. Now guys, I'm 25 years old. I've been playing video games since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I think I've played my fair share of great games, from like Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, which is my all-time favorite game ever, to games like Kingdom Hearts, Zelda the Wind Waker, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Super Mario Sunshine, Kirby Air Ride, Simpsons Hit and Run, GTA, Red Dead Redemption, Call of Duty, Yu-Gi-Oh games, Minecraft. We get towards the modern era, we're talking like Fall Guys, Fortnite. The point is, I've played a very wide variety of games, and I think I have knowledge and time on my side to say this very, very clearly, with confidence, with my entire fucking chest. The way that these modern games have been launching is so utterly unacceptably bad. Like, the quality of a lot of these games is literal horseshit. Now, we are a COD channel here. I do nothing but talk shit about Call of Duty. I have a lot of criticism about Call of Duty. Yes, from time to time I still play it. That's just my channel. That's just the way it is. So I have the experience to tell you guys that a lot of these types of games, when they launch in certain ways, it affects the entire game's life cycle from then on. Even if they go and polish everything, even if they fix everything. I say this on this channel very often. The launch of your game is the most important point of your entire life cycle. Call of Duty, a game that releases every single year, they fuck up royally 9 out of 10 times with their launches. I cannot remember the last time a Call of Duty game launched very good, off rip, alright? Black Ops 4, you could argue it wasn't even that good at launch. MW 2019, one of the worst multiplayer experiences I've ever had in my entire fucking life. Cold War launched with like 6 maps. Vanguard, dog shit. MW 2019 Part 2, horseshit. MW 2019 Part 3, and this is a very, very important game to talk about right now when it comes to launching, because everything else around the launch, the quality of the gameplay, how the developers have been communicating with us, all of these things were actually not half bad. The only downside was this game had no original content. And I'm not joking when I say that. Zero when it comes to the streaks, the weapons, and especially the fucking maps. Zero original content. That is obviously not okay, and Activision has even gone on the record to say that that was a mistake. So this isn't just, me hating and me pulling at strings. I was one of the first people to make this a very underlining point. This is not okay. This is going to result poorly. And it did. Because months later, when they finally start giving us more maps, people have already dropped off the game. People already got bored. That's exactly what happened. And yes, we find ourselves with better peaks nowadays, but it's never gonna be the same as what you could have had at launch. Now that's just Call of Duty. Let's talk about other games like Cyberpunk. We all remember how that game launched. It was ass. What about Battlefield? We all remember how many people were hyped to play that game. They were excited for it. Rumors of Battle Royale mode getting scrapped. Some things are getting kind of scrambled last minute. The game comes out a fucking disaster. Nowadays, yes, it's a lot better. I think a lot of people will agree with that. But the launch had already tarnished any type of momentum that that game could have had at that point. What about a game that hasn't even come out yet, like X-Defiant? People are extremely hyped for X-Defiant, but we're questioning as to whether or not this game is actually ready for release. Because the last time that I played it, there was a lot of issues. And have those issues been fixed? We don't know. In terms of the amount of content, it might be up there, right? Like, I played some really solid maps in X-Defiant. There was quite a few of them too. But is the quality around that good enough? We don't know yet. So there's a lot of really important factors that go into the launch of a game, and a lot of these games just haven't been hitting the mark, at least not in every single category the way that they're supposed to, if majority of these games are titled to be AAA titled games. Even for some indie studios out there, like, yeah, you can cut them some slack because they're an indie studio, but the launch of your game still needs to be a really, really key moment. Now, going past that, I think there's a very real life topic to be discussed about modern gaming and at least the industry for people who have careers and jobs developing or producing or playtesting, just making sure this game comes out the way that they want, the way that they envisioned. Now, we all know about Microsoft buying out Activision, who owns Call of Duty, and then one of the very first things to happen was Microsoft laying off a bunch of people at Activision and a bunch of people within every single studio that works with Call of Duty. Now, the time that this happened, this is just the scat master in me, alright? I disassociated from most humans. I started trolling, and I thought it was fucking funny, because I have a very deep-rooted, deserved, by the way, very much deserved, distaste towards developers in COD, because they royally fuck up. And to the people at Activision, I mean, these guys are no strangers to their fair share of conflict and controversy and just disgusting behavior, so when I heard about layoffs, man, I was all for it, I'm not gonna lie. Now, months later, has the human in me become more intact and realized to have more sympathy towards these people that lost their jobs? Fuck no. No, hell no. I keep it 100 all the time, guys. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I'm not trying to give you guys the right answer. Activision, fuck you guys. If it's up, it's up. Like, if you guys lost your jobs, that is what it is, alright? You hate to see it. Move the fuck on. You guys got severance pay. You guys are gonna be okay. However, that is very much exclusive to Call of Duty and Activision, because when you talk about other studios, I do think it's a little bit different. Is it a double standard? Fuck it, it might be. I don't really care. I'm just telling you guys how I personally feel about it. Let me put up a tweet by my very good friend Charlie Intel, who I definitely don't talk shit about on this channel. A couple of days ago, Microsoft has announced it's shutting down 3 Bethesda studios and merging another one. The developers of Redfall, Alpha Dog Studios got shut down, Tango Gameworks, the developers of High Rush, and then Roundhouse Games got merged. And so, which of these games is actually going to be affected? Let's put it up on the screen right now. Guys, I've played a little bit of Dishonored. You fucking hate to see it. Redfall, Hi-Fi Rush, The Evil Within, once again, you hate to see it. And games like Prey. When you start shutting down multiple studios, and this isn't just a Microsoft thing, I've seen other corporations do this as well. This is where the whole delicate balance of it comes into play. Because on one hand, if those developers were actually deadbeat, then fuck it. Good riddance. They're out of here. But let's talk about the newer generation of people coming up. The new people that are currently taking classes to learn how to develop. The people that are currently putting their entire heart and soul into trying to learn how to code, how to make updates, how to produce games, how to design, how to animate, how to do everything else. Are you creating an environment that they'd probably feel comfortable in working? No, because at any time their job could be entirely chalked. When you shut down studios, when you send out cease and desists to your own fucking fans that could have been working for you, all you're doing is concocting this entire environment of people feeling unsafe to get into this field. And when that happens, you lose a lot of talent. You lose a lot of possible talent as well. And then we get into the cycle where we're probably gonna be stuck with a bunch of fucking deadbeats that have enough money to keep their job, that have the status to keep their job. Because you might get rid of a whole lot of people. You might keep a handful of talented people, but there's gonna be some people that were cherry picked. And we're not gonna lie about that. We know that's a thing. And some of those people might not be the best qualified. So there's a whole lot of issues that comes with laying off people and just completely wiping out entire studios, because it causes a chain reaction. And me personally, when I start seeing other games that I play like Call of Duty every single year, and we're talking about, hey, 20% of the studio just got destroyed. It could be one of the best decisions they've ever made, or it could be one of the worst decisions they've ever made. And staying on the topic of corporations, there's a lot of corporate motherfuckers out here that just overstep boundaries. They don't know shit about gaming. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Hardly any of them continuously actually play video games. I think it's 2 middle fingers up. Fuck them. I have no sympathy for these types of people. And I do think they overstep quite a bit. Now, we already talked about Activision. We already talked about Microsoft. What about other ones like EA? We know what EA Games is known for, alright? We're not gonna beat around the bush. But guys, there's another one that I do think needs to be talked about a little bit more. What about Sony? Oh, this one might be a tough one, guys. Like, Sony, they own PlayStation, right? They own a whole lot of shit, but PlayStation's one of them. Now, I play on PS5 and I'm fairly satisfied with my product, but I do think in the future, I'm probably gonna switch over to a PC pretty soon. Eventually when I get to PC, I don't think I'm gonna be rocking with this whole fucking exclusivity bullshit. But it's not just exclusivity, it's also creating boundaries. Let's talk about a very popular game, guys. You guys already know it probably. HELLDIVERS 2 and the whole concoction of bullshit that happened like last week. HELLDIVERS 2 did this whole account linking update where initially to get the game, all you needed was your regular Steam account, right? No harm, no foul, just play the game. Now, was this a product of some shit going wrong initially at launch? And once again, we go back to, you know, making sure you do shit right at launch. I think that's what they were trying to say, is some bullshit went wrong with the launch, and so this was unintentional but necessary, that all you needed was your Steam account and you were good to go. I guess you also needed to link your Steam account to a PlayStation account. Now, some people are gonna have an issue with this, some people aren't, some people think it's a very easy method to go through, and in other places, this is simply not a thing you can do. And that's where this becomes a whole different type of issue, is when you start setting boundaries as to where you can do shit and where you can't do shit. And I think this person out here painted this correctly. This person says, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sony actually cut off 1/3 of the world from playing HELLDIVERS 2 so that they can please their shareholders about player counts for PlayStation. For a $1 billion company, this is absolutely an MW 2019 fan. Now, I can get into this entire thing with shareholders and player counts and all this other shit and just trying to appease your higher ups, your fucking daddies, so that they can give you a little bit more spare pocket change. And I think that video would get extremely disrespectful, and I think the Scadmaster would probably be offed. I'm just gonna be honest. So we might avoid that for now, but the point of this is that over some bullshit, we are cucking people out of playing the game. Because in some countries, you literally cannot have a PlayStation Network account. And if you're in one of those countries where this is simply inaccessible and it's impossible to do, and you change the country that you're from so that you have access to make a PSN account to play a fucking game like HELLDIVERS 2, which already shouldn't be necessary to begin with, this could be in violation of Sony's TOS. By the way, if you're putting a barrier in front of playing a game where you already need a Steam account and now you're asking for another account for PlayStation, there's privacy and security reasons why people don't want to do that. So this is just an example of corporations overstepping, for nonsense, over some bullshit. Now, thankfully, correct me if I'm wrong, this has been resolved because of so many people being in an uproar. And this is just a great example of the community finally using their voice to their advantage. You guys have strength in numbers. Use it wisely. Now, I wish people over here on COD could do some shit like that, but most of us don't really have a fucking IQ above 3. But if I'm not mistaken, the Helldivers 2 community, good shit, alright? If you guys actually got this shit overturned, that's a great thing. And now finally, guys, there's one last thing that I think heavily contributes to the downfall of modern gaming. And this has just been the elephant in the room this entire time. You guys know, if you're familiar with this channel, I talk about this quite a bit. Guys, monetization is one of, if not in my opinion, the biggest factor that contributes to just ruining modern gaming, because now everything needs to revolve around this. Not just buying the game at launch, which, you know, some games have been doing a better job of doing because some of these are now free to play, but to the other games Call of Duty that continuously put out multiplayer experiences for like $60, $70, and on top of that, there's heavy monetization. Unacceptable. A lot of this shit, even if it's just cosmetics, unacceptable prices. Ridiculous. Nonsensical. And this is the other part of the issue with monetization, is it's not just these corporations and these publishers and developers that are creating this shit, it's the consumers too. That's why this is such a big problem, because it goes both ways. If you're constantly buying cosmetics, if you're constantly paying for better experiences, you are actively encouraging these stupid ass corporations to continuously pump that bullshit out. So take a look at a game like Call of Duty. So many of the qualities that made Call of Duty great have been washed out because of over monetization. We used to be able to buy camos for $1, guys, maybe $2, and they were great fucking camos, and you could put it on everything, whatever you wanted. Nowadays, we have these cosmetic bundle skins for $20, $25, $30, and the camo that you get only applies to one gun with these specific attachments. If you change anything about it, it looks ridiculous. These skins that you used to be able to earn that looked really cool, now they're behind a battle pass that you need to buy. Now they're behind this bundle that you need to purchase. And look, you could definitely make the argument, oh, it's their money, they can choose what they do with it. Alright, that's fine, but when we get to points where we're launching with bullshit, and then we start overflowing and overpumping with bundles and microtransactions, I don't want to hear any of these people ask for new maps. On top of that, now we're talking about pay to win shit. It used to simply not exist until, you know, like Advanced Warfare with supply drops, but people got rid of that. Then we got into the current system that we have currently, and it was supposed to be cosmetics only, alright? That was a goddamn lie. And then you start talking about side modes like DMZ or zombies. Oh, it's not multiplayer, there's no harm, no foul in applying some pay-to-win elements, because you're not going against other people. Well, lo and fucking behold, now it's in multiplayer, guys. This stuff, I can call it, alright? Like, I just recognize it like the back of my hand. It's very easy to tell when this is coming in. And it's not just COD, we talk about games like Apex where they have bundles for like $100, $1,000 fucking dollars, CSGO, knives for thousands of dollars. The fuck is that? I get it, it's cool, it looks great. That's some bullshit though. And don't even get me started on fucking FIFA. I know a lot of people want me to dig into FIFA and Madden and 2K and all these other sport games. FIFA, let's just talk about them for like 2 seconds. What the flying fuck is all this? So guys, at the end of the day, modern gaming has a lot of great qualities, right? We can all agree. They're creating careers. They're creating people's entire personas. People are becoming successful off of them. Some of these games, I would argue, are even pretty good. But it's certainly not what it was back in the day. And I think modern gaming has fallen down into this pit hole of bullshit because of the reasons that we talked about. Now, there's obviously so many more things, and there's other gaming corporations and companies that I didn't even talk about. So that's where I encourage you guys to please educate the Scad Master, alright? I'm not a fucking Omni King. I don't know everything about everything. If I got something wrong, you gotta let me know. If I'm missing something, you gotta let me know. I'm human, kinda, at the end of the day. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this. What is your take on modern gaming? What do you think makes it good? What do you think makes it bad? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos, and yeah guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Toodles.